Hello everyone and welcome to this. Let's look at my top, my whole collection all time of movies through the years 2000 up until, let's say 2009. We stop at 2009, so the entire decade. And yeah, basically the same thing we did last time for the 90s movies. We're gonna go ahead and take a look through the years of the 2000s. Okay, so first up here, we need to go under release date. There's a little insight. I don't know if you guys can pause and see, but we're gonna go down all the way until we find the year 2000. And then see what's there, take a look, and talk about each and every one of these films. Now, this list is not complete. It is still an ongoing project of mine, but I still want to get it out there into the open, into the wild of the internet, so you guys can see if you find something new, see if you find something that you're gonna enjoy yourself. That's kind of the point of this. So, let's just see if you guys can see this correctly. Maybe I need to make it a little bit bigger. How's that? Any better? Okay, so let's begin. Starting with the year 2000, released January 9th, is a film called The Virginian. And this is a Western. It's not a great start because I don't remember a thing about this. I remember I had, or rather my grandfather had, the VHS tape back in my grandparents' house, and there was a lot of Westerns in that collection. My grandfather loved Westerns. Part of the reason that I love Westerns so much. He had a big, huge book collection too, but I can't really tell you about The Virginian because I don't remember it. So we're starting on a blank, drawing a blank on that, but check it out if that sounds like your kind of film. I probably need to go check that out as well. Next up, American Psycho. That's a classic. Well, it's a classic now. You've got this charming dude who, underline, he's a psychopath, kind of like Dexter if you've seen the TV show, but kind of not like that at all. You just gotta go see it. If you haven't seen this, do watch it. Now, here's a film I can talk a lot about, Uzumaki. Uzumaki is a Junji Ito manga. If you don't know who that is, he's a horror artist, horror storyteller from Japan. He makes these really detailed illustrations called manga, which his is like very highly detailed, like more than was the norm, or as far as I know. Anyway, it caught on, very popular, and Uzumaki not only was one of the first actual manga books that I read, but also they made a film in the year 2000 telling the story of Uzumaki, and the effects are just incredible because it's very surreal. The subject, the topic, Uzumaki meaning spiral, if you didn't know. It's this whole thing where spirals are a cursed symbol. It's a horror movie, if that sounds like your kind of thing, and if you want to watch a J-horror, something like The Grudge, something like The Grudge or The Ring, but you haven't seen this. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Anyway, I highly recommend. This is a great film to sit down on a spooky night. When it comes to spooky night, watch Uzumaki. Next up, Mission to Mars. Now, here's some good sci-fi. I always mix this movie up with one called Red Planet. Both of them came out in the same year, the year 2000. and they're very, very similar. They're both Let's Go to Mars movies. Now, which one is this? I'm gonna have to click on it and see, because I always really get them mixed up. I know one of them has a robot. One of them has a robot. Is this the one with the robot? Mission to Mars. I wonder if I'll get banned if I play this trailer. Loud. Hold on. This is the one... with the face on Mars? Yeah, they go into the face on Mars. Okay, I'm not gonna give away the plot, but it's coming back to me. This is the one with the face on Mars. They end up getting stranded. The first mission gets stranded on Mars. That dude builds a greenhouse and somehow survives on his own on the planet Mars for a long, long time until a rescue mission comes on along the way, and they aim to rescue that stranded astronaut. And along the way to do that, they discover that Mars was inhabited, and the face on Mars actually was a monument to this race, spacefaring race, Martians, I suppose, who, I can't remember if they came from Mars or if they came to Mars and then left again. But it pretty much has a backstory. If you ever played Mass Effect, it's kind of like the ending of that, where there's this ancienter species, and you learn about them through a hologram they left behind. Spoilers. That was a lot of spoilers. I'm sorry. It's still a great movie. Go watch it. Go watch it. If you're a fan of Kerbal Space Program or NASA in general, sci-fi in general, go watch Mission to Mars. Next up, Russell Crowe plays Maximus in Gladiator. This is directed by Ridley Scott. This is one of my all-time favorite films. I remember watching this a ton, especially when it came on TV every time. In recent years, they've made a sequel to this, Gladiator 2. I still haven't seen that one. That's on my list to see, but we're not talking about Gladiator 2, we're talking about Gladiator. And it really brought Roman times to life on the big screen. Not for the first time, but in such a way that at the time you really felt like you're there. Even if you watch it today, you kind of still do feel like you're there in Roman times. Maximus is a great protagonist because he's a good vessel to just transport the audience along with him back to Roman times, see his experience, and Claudius and the games, the Gladiator games, of course, are very, very stunning. And it's this story of human struggle and perseverance and also revenge. If that's your type of thing, or even if it's not, I'd say watch it anyway. Watch it. It's one of the greats. Next up, Shadow of the Vampire. Now, you may know a little film called Nosferatu, like it says here, the 1922 film Nosferatu. That was a silent movie about Count Orlok, aka Dracula. They couldn't use the name Dracula because they didn't have the rights to the book back in 1922, so this German studio called it Nosferatu. And it's essentially the same story of Dracula, except he's less gentlemanly, he's more like a creepy monster-looking vampire, but it's still the original vampire film, as far as I know. And Shadow of the Vampire is a take on the making of Nosferatu, but it's not a documentary. It's its own film. It's its own story where Nosferatu himself, it's almost behind the scenes, but he's not an actor. He's really the vampire. He really is Count Orlok. The filmmakers found him somewhere in Transylvania and invited him onto this film. They're filming him as the real monster. The other actors in the film don't know that, and he starts picking off the cast and crew one by one. It's a lot of fun. Do watch Shadow of the Vampire. Next up, Shanghai Noon. Here you go. We got Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan. What a pair. Comedy duo in this action comedy Shanghai Noon. It's a lot like Rush Hour. Rush Hour, we talked about before. 1, 2, and 3 with Jackie Chan and Kevin Hart. Or was it Chris Tucker? Chris Tucker, I'm sure. Anyway, this movie feels like one of those movies, except set in a Western time. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of kung fu. There's a lot of jokes. It's been a few years since I've seen it myself. They did make a sequel, Shanghai Nights. I'm not sure if that's on my list or not. But yeah, Shanghai Noon. What else can I say? Speaking about comedies, Big Mama's House. Big Mama. Now this is a movie, it's kind of like White Chicks, if you ever seen that one. Where the dude, the cop, goes undercover and he dresses up as this like typical grandma, mom type character who is huge and he's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous film. They made a ton of them as well. It's really bizarrely entertaining. You can't take it. Don't try to take it seriously. It's a silly comedy. It's one of the silliest comedies ever. So if you're in the mood for a very silly film, go watch Big Mama, because ooh child, Big Mama is in the house. Next up, Python. This is another animal attack movie. These were made for TV, I believe, or maybe even straight to VHS. But I like those films. You will have noticed a pattern from my 90s movies. I like those kind of films. And this is another one of those. Check out Python. Under Suspicion. Now, I'm trying to remember what this film was. Obviously, I see Morgan Freeman there on the cover. I might need to go refresh my memory on this. I believe it takes place in the South, but I can't. No, I have to go look at it again before I say anything about that. Next up, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Now here's an anime film from when I was a teenager and I was first getting into anime, discovering manga, Uzumaki, and things like that. Vampire Hunter D was one of the first AMV, what they called anime music videos, which was like a craze on YouTube at the time. And God, that made me sound really old, but Vampire Hunter D is awesome if you like those kind of stories like Nosferatu, what we just talked about, Dracula, Blade, etc. Here's a cool like anime. It's more about the hunter himself, so like a Van Helsing type character. It's just got great action. It's got great scenes. Moving on. Red Planet. There you go. There's the one with the robot. This one is the one with the robot. There's a robot in this movie. They get stranded on Mars. They take their futuristic robot with them. That thing goes feral. It goes military hunter-killer mode and scampers off into the distance and comes after them, kind of stalking them like a predator. All the while, they're trying to find their solution. How are we going to get off planet Mars and back to Earth? Well, that is the question. How are they going to do it? They end up... Should I spoil it? Spoiler alert. Skip ahead like 20 seconds if you don't want to hear it. They end up finding a Soviet rocket ship, and they also discover some life on Mars. And this Soviet rocket has some fuel left, so they try to hotwire this thing, and it's got this goofy interactive interface with a bear, because of course it's Russian, so they have a bear on their interface. Fantastic film. I love both this and Mission to Mars. I usually watch both of them because, like I say, I'm like always trying to watch one, end up watching the other one, and ending up watching them both anyway. Red Planet, Mission to Mars, go together. Next up, The Sixth Day. The Sixth Day stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, this is the one where they have a dog, their dog dies, and it's set in the future. It's a good sci-fi film, sci-fi setting in the near future where cloning has come to pass. Cloning is now an accepted thing. So you can clone your pet should they had died, and then that's exactly what they try to do here. Now Arnold is opposed to this because he's like, that's weird, I don't like clone dog. So he is against it, but what ends up happening is they are cloning humans. Spoiler, they clone Arnold himself. There's two Arnolds in this film. It gets a little confusing at times because one of them is the real one of them's the clone. You mostly follow real Arnold, but you never really know, is he himself actually the clone? Well, it's a very clever film. And if you're in the mood for sci-fi action that's not entirely set in outer space, still quite grounded, you can watch The Sixth Day. Next up, Daybreak. What is Daybreak? I don't know. Shit's on fire. I need to watch that myself. I'm not sure I've seen that. Oh, here's one I could talk about. Alright, Dracula 2000. We're back with another vampire movie. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Well, Dracula 2000 is this very, very 2000s version of Dracula. How else can I put that? It's just, it oozes 2000s energy. Everyone's got like trench coats, like Matrix. That's actually something that should have been on my 90s list, is the Matrix. Dracula 2000. If that sounds cool to you, it probably is exactly what you think it is. It's very stylish. It's very, like, techno. Even says techno on here. Techno-savvy thieves. Alright, moving on. Rough Air. Danger of Flight 534. An air crash movie. I don't remember it, but it's an air crash movie. If you're into that, go watch it. I will. Enemy at the Gates. Do you see the beast? Do you have it in your sights? Take the Shot, Vasily. This movie is about Vasily Zaitsev, a real-world Soviet sniper. He was made famous for his sniping proficiency during World War II, and here in particular during the Battle of Stalingrad. Now, this is a movie where all of the Russians, Soviets, have British accents because they're played by English actors. It's a Western film, but it is very, very good. It's very entertaining. If you like war films like Saving Private Ryan, that's a good follow-on to that. Moving on. Exchange. That's a movie with a cool trailer, but I haven't watched it yet. It's another cloning movie. Yeah, that was a trend in the 90s and early 2000s. People were thinking a lot about, oh my god, cloning is gonna change the world, and I guess that's still not happened yet. It's probably a good thing. Next up, Super Troopers. One of my friends who's also a Let's Player, Jeff Major, he constantly quotes this movie, Super Troopers. I'm not sure if I've seen the two recently myself, but I know Jeff is really... It's a comedy, if you can't tell. It's a silly comedy. Super Troopers. In Pursuit. Some kind of action film. I don't think I remember that too well. Spy Kids. Okay, there's one from when I was a kid myself. Spy Kids 1, 2, and 3D. Yeah, what can I say about that? It's really it's a movie for kids, and the kids are spies, and they've got all this Mission Impossible gadgetry, but they're kids, and it's a very cut and dry, cookie cutter, if you will, kind of movie. It's good for a young audience. I don't know, that's the target audience they're going for. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so my memory's a little fragmented. The Mummy Returns, the sequel to The Mummy. If you enjoyed The Mummy, there's more. It goes on. This one has the Scorpion King, played by The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. One of his early acting expeditions. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, one of his earlier films. Brendan Fraser. Same stars as the last one. Just a bit more. There's more. Turbulence-free heavy metal. Turbulence-free is a more ridiculous version of the Turbulence films, because it has this rock star who's on the plane, and I don't remember really what happens, but it's a very silly... That's the last one in the Turbulence series, and it gets a little silly. The Fast and the Furious. Now, there's a hit film that kind of shook the world. In fact, the music that I'm playing in the background comes from the game Burnout, which is directly inspired by The Fast and the Furious. This film kicked off this entire franchise, which is still going to this day. But I will have to say, this, 2, and 3 are the best ones, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, because the movies were still about modding cars, doing street races, illegal races, undercover cop stuff was in there too. Of course, Paul Walker was an undercover cop trying to infiltrate the gang, and then he ends up feeling more like family with them. F is for family, am I right, Vin Diesel? Anyhow, the movies, the franchise as it went on later, turned into some other kind of thing where I can't even tell you what it's about anymore. It's just action heist movies, and there was a heist in this, so it's not too far off, but you don't see much racing anymore, and this had racing. The racing, the modding up cars, and the trying to get their cars faster, that was a really cool touch that I think resonated with a lot of people when it came out, and it kind of gave this whole... I mean, racing culture was already out there, but it basically JDM, imports, underglow lights, all of that kind of stuff, hugely skyrocketed in popularity. Nitro, all because of Fast and the Furious. No doubt about that. Next up, Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those peepers? One of my all-time favorite horror films, in fact, one of my first horror films that I think I ever had watched was Jeepers Creepers on the TV, on this tiny little 14-inch screen TV by Panasonic that I had, which had a really blurry picture. I remember they did a double bill of Jeepers Creepers followed by Alien. We'll talk about Alien another time. I'd love to talk about Alien. But both of them had this staticky reception, which you don't really get anymore. And you might see that as like, well, that's no good, but I'm telling you, it enhanced the movies. It made them more creepy. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? One of my favorite monster characters, horror movie villains of all time is the Creeper. In fact, my first Xbox username was called The Creeper, after the Creeper from this film, also from Scooby-Doo, but that's neither here nor there. Let's focus on this Creeper. Now, he wakes up every 23 years, and it has to feed, so it goes into hibernation for a long, long time. The creature has been around, as is evident by the things he has and wears. He's been around since long, long ago, probably since the time of the Pilgrims in America, going all the way back to the 1700s, maybe even before then. It has a very Pennywise type of feeling that way, because you don't know how long this thing's been around. Was it something that haunted the Native Americans? Was it something that came from space? It's never really made clear. But the mystery is the movie. And we like mystery. We don't need to have all these questions answered. It's better if we don't know, because we can then fill in the lore gaps in our own heads and try to figure it out. Anyway, this creature is immortal, essentially immortal. It harvests organs from healthy human beings every 23 years. Then it goes back to sleep. In this film, these two teenagers are driving down their highway and encounter the creature, which then stalks them. It stalks them in a way very similar to Duel. If you've ever seen Duel, that 1971 film by Steven Spielberg. Or maybe if you haven't, it has a really, really good throwback to Duel with the way that he follows them in this big rusty truck. Didn't think you could make a truck creepy, did you? But you can. In Jeepers Creepers, go watch it. Alright, we gotta move on because there's a lot more movies. Next up, Jason X. Jason being the Friday the 13th character, the slasher killer. Jason Voorhees in space! Yes! They put Jason in space, which is ridiculous. But, I mean, yeah, why does everything end up in space? Leprechaun went to space. I don't know, but Jason is in space, and he's hacking and slashing like he always does, and he gets this weird new mask made off space-age technology. And, I don't know what to tell you. If you're watching through all the Friday the 13th, you're gonna hit this one eventually. You might like it, you might hate it, I can't tell you. It's a really, it's enjoyable in the cheesy, almost guilty pleasure kind of way. So, I'm not saying I don't have any guilty pleasures. I've got plenty of them. So if that's your jam, that's your jam. Jason X, more power to you. Here you go. Next up, Tremors 3. A continuation to the Tremors franchise. Last time, Tremors 2, we talked about the Graboids turning into Shriekers, giving birth to the next stage of evolution. Well, that continues on here. Now, Burt Gummer became the main star of this franchise because he was the only main actor who kept coming back to the franchise for the most part. There's also the lady who runs the convenience store. There was a couple more, but the big actors from the first film, like Kevin Bacon, and even his wife, they had to make up a story where Burt Gummer's wife leaves him because just the actress wouldn't come back to the films. She was one and done, you know what I mean? Anyway, go and see what the next evolution of Tremors are gonna be like. Moving on. Bleach Your Bones. I can't tell you I've really seen that. It's on my list. 2C. Looks entertaining. Looks like a comedy. There's another one for us both to check out. Next up, 13 Ghosts. Now, I remember really enjoying this film. This is the one where they've got ghosts with spooky chains in the basement. Oh yeah, it says it right here. Evil Machine. They're in a house which becomes like this shifting hallways and stuff are shifting. I think they use like some high-tech night vision goggles to try and find the ghosts. They got some like devices and gadgets. Ghost Hunter, yeah, there it is on the last bit of the paragraph right there. Ghost Hunter. So that's that film. And it's a really enjoyable film. If you like haunted house movies, be sure to see 13 Ghosts. It's a little bit like Event Horizon, except not in space. That's what I remember. Anyhow. Moving on, Monsters, Inc., another one from when I was a kid. Monsters, Inc. was another Pixar film that blew up in popularity for good reason. It's a very well-told kids movie about these monsters who have to go and spook kids because they're the monsters under the bed, they're the monsters in your closet, but you don't know that they're just schlubs doing their job, essentially, and they're not bad people. They're not actually out to eat you. They just want to scare you. Anyway, these two, Mike Wazowski and Sully, the blue guy Sully, become friends with this little girl who wasn't scared at all. It's a very cute story, Monsters, Inc. Next up, Behind Enemy Lines. This is a different Behind Enemy Lines than the 90s one. This stars Owen Wilson. He's this jet fighter pilot. He's kind of bored. He's about to quit. He's about to quit his job and be like, I didn't actually get to do any dogfights. It's not World War II anymore. He says, like, nobody gets to go and punch Hitler, etc. And so he goes on this sortie, reconnaissance sortie over Bosnia. He gets shot down. There's the title. He gets shot down behind enemy lines. And he's got to work his way back to an extraction point, which then keeps shifting. There are different forces at play, and he really experiences how gritty and bad things are there on the ground where the war is raging. And the US is not really supposed to even be involved in that war. Not actively. It's more just they're keeping an eye on things, and, well, you know, times have changed. Like, Owen Wilson's character realizes it's not World War II anymore. We're not invading Normandy. Stuff is going on the ground over there. Militias and these citizens and the government are all having their internal country war. The US is not really involved, but Owen Wilson gets trapped, stuck in the middle of it, and he's got to work his way out of there himself. A really good watch. I enjoy Behind Enemy Lines. Next up, Texas Rangers. Looks like a Western. Maybe it's not. I can't tell you. I don't. That's on my list, but I haven't seen it. Not everything on my list I've seen. Some are just things that are like on there because I want to see them, or I thought sound cool, so I added them to the list so I find them later. Here's one that I'm gonna find later, if I do get around to that or not. Probably not. Anyway, moving on. Here we go. Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down is a war film set in the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Was it during the Gulf War? No, I'm wrong. Hey, don't listen to me. Okay, let me start again. Black Hawk Down. I should read these little paragraphs before I start reading. I misremember. I misidentified this one. It takes place in Somalia. This was a true story. Actually, it was a true story where some Black Hawks were shot down over Somalia, and much like Behind Enemy Lines, they have to work their way out of there and get out alive, but there's a lot of insurgents chasing them, and it's not just one guy in this film. It differs from Behind Enemy Lines because it is a whole squad of Delta Force and US Rangers that are stuck there. They're stuck there. It's a great war movie if you're into things like Counter-Strike or Arma or I don't know what else. Saving Private Ryan. Give this one a look because it has a modern setting as opposed to being in World War II. It's pretty interesting. Next up, speaking about changing the setting, We Were Soldiers. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson stars as the company leader of a battalion in Vietnam at the beginning of the Vietnam War. The war had just started. It is a brand new war. They didn't really know their enemy too well. Mel Gibson is doing a lot of research into who they're actually gonna fight, what they did to the French prior to the Americans intervening, and it's this whole battle for Da Nang Valley. I believe it was Da Nang that was the first landing site of the American troops, the first encounter between American and Vietnamese soldiers during that war. It is a brutal war film with a lot of blood, a lot of death, and they don't really want to glorify the war. I mean, any good war film is not a pro-war film, if you know what I mean. Any good war film is an anti-war film because it makes you want to go away from that and, honor the dead, peace be with them. But we need to learn not to keep going to war like this because the reality is hell. War is hell, like they say. It is one of my favorite all-time war films. Moving on, Crocodile 2, Death Swamp. Another Animal Attack movie. This is the sequel to Crocodile, which I don't even think the original one is on my list at all. There you go. I can't really say much about that. It's got a crocodile and probably eats people. Moving on, The Scorpion King. Earlier, we talked about The Mummy Returns. Well, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, got his own spin-off movie from that, exploring what life was like, his own adventures when he did live in those ancient Egyptian times. Yes. Next up, Spider-Man. Hey, Stan Lee and that dude who directed not Stan Winston. I'm gonna have to look at that. The dude who directed The Evil Dead, whose name I should not forget because I know it. What does it say, director? Obviously, Willem Dafoe plays the Green Goblin. Sam Raimi directed Sam Raimi, who also directed The Evil Dead over here. Yeah, he went from horror movies right into big superhero films. And let me tell you, this is before superhero films really were even that big. You had Batman films before then. Those are popular. Spider-Man movie from 2002 kind of kicked off this whole new genre of 2000s superhero movies. Followed closely by the X-Men. Where did X-Men come out before? We're gonna have to look that up at the end. Let's stick to Spider-Man for right now. Peter Parker, it tells a story, Spider-Man's origin. Peter Parker, teenager, gets bitten by the spider. You've heard the story, it's a radioactive spider, and now he's got radioactive blood and all the abilities of a spider. And he goes and fights crime. It's based on the comic book, of course. The main villain is the Green Goblin. The performance by Willem Dafoe is probably my favorite thing about this film here, Spider-Man. I'm a big fan. I had a whole range of the action figures when I was younger. Speaking about action figures that I had when I was younger, here's Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I had that Anakin, which does a flip, and he's got the two swords, green and blue lightsaber. He does a flip, and he cuts a Geonosian in half. That action figure set. Well, I'm not here to talk about my action figures. Here's the movie. This movie was hype as fuck. I don't know how else to say that. This was like the biggest freaking thing in my life at the time. I had posters, I had a subscription to the Star Wars magazine. I was a big Star Wars geek at that time when this thing came out. And a part of me, a lot of me still is, okay, I'll admit it. But they had this whole look of these clone troopers. They were sort of like stormtroopers, but I really liked the new design. And Jango Fett, father of Boba Fett, we meet him for the first time. There's this love story with Anakin and Padme, which is not the greatest love story of all time. This is where famous lines come into play, like, I hate sand, it's coarse and it's rough, and it gets everywhere. Anakin hates sand, that's what we learn in Attack of the Clones. It also has Count Dooku, played by Christopher Lee, used to be Dracula. Very classic actor, Christopher Lee. In fact, I think they call him Count Dooku because he played Count Dracula. Get it? Moving on. The Sum of All Fears. That's a thriller. It's a thriller that thrills you really good. I remember enjoying this film. It's kind of film that I do enjoy in particular, but I can't speak too much about it because I haven't seen it in too long. Moving on. Eight-Legged Freaks. Now, okay, I keep saying it when I'm about when I was younger too many times, but when I was younger, my friend had this on DVD and we watched it. And, you know, I've got a small fear of spiders. I've got something of an arachnophobia. I don't know where that came from, but I can deal with small spiders. But when spiders start getting bigger, that's when they start to freak me out a little bit. And the spiders in this movie are bigger than, like, any spiders you've seen. They're as big as you. They're probably bigger than you. It's not a particularly scary movie unless you're scared of spiders. It's a lot of fun. They have dirt bikes. The spiders are like jumping spiders. They are very action. They can hop. They can chase after these dirt bikes. They go on a big chase. Eight-Legged Freaks. It's a B movie of 2002. Moving on. The Bourne Identity. This is not a B movie. This is an action blockbuster. This is the reinvention of the spy thriller. He's not James Bond. He's not even Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. Jason Bourne is a far more grounded, realistic-ish spy. More like a Tom Clancy kind of character, like Jack Ryan. He knows all of these tricks that he learned at the CIA or whichever spy black ops institution that he was taught at, but he's got amnesia. So he's now using his skills to figure out who the hell he is. What is his identity? Who is the identity of Jason Bourne? That's the movie, and it's a lot of action and it's a lot of fun. Alright. Bubba Ho-Tep. Bubba Ho-Tep is a classic movie. At least to me, it's a classic movie. I mean, you might not have seen it. Maybe you have. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've never heard of Bubba Ho-Tep, but let me tell you about it. Elvis didn't really die on the toilet eating a sandwich or peanut butter sandwich or hamburger or whatever it was. Elvis faked his death. He switched roles with an impersonator so he could live out the rest of his life in peace as a normal guy. But now he's old. He's in a retirement home. That sucks. Elvis doesn't like it there. He doesn't like being old. It's a movie about aging and how you deal with it. And he wants to tell people he's Elvis, but nobody's believing him anymore. And then a freaking ancient Egyptian mummy, the Curse of the Mummy, shows up near this retirement home just by chance. It falls off a truck heading to a museum. The Curse of the Mummy lands there, and the creature needs to feed on human souls. Now, what souls are easy to get at more than old people? They're gonna be on death's door anyway, so the mummy is getting away with eating the souls out of this retirement home until Elvis figures it out, and he with his good friend they take on this monster. And they're old, they're geriatrics. They need like a wheelchair and a scooter and this big walking Zimmer frame to get around. Bubba Ho-Tep. Action, comedy, horror. Great watch. Especially on like a stormy, rainy night. Alright. Next up. Minority Report. Minority Report. This is another movie about... was it cloning or... No, okay, I remember what this one is. This is Minority Report about predicting crimes before they happen. It says it here. I should really read these things. I'm not reading this, by the way. I'm just trying to use my head. In any case, before the crime is committed, using these free psycho, how do I say that? They're like, they can predict the future. These free beings can predict the future. They can see into the future, and they can see crimes before they happen. Now, those people who are ESP sensitive, but I believe they're grown, or they've been genetically enhanced to be like that, and they basically dream these visions, which are then projected into a computer where Tom Cruise looks at it, and he can be like, okay, crime's gonna happen over there, go stop it before it happens. And they put these people on trial, so no crime was committed, but they still convict the felon as if they did it anyway. And the twist is, the main guy, the main character, the main police character gets predicted off a crime that he was gonna commit, but was it really a crime, or was it planted there? Was it planted in the heads of these very, very sensitive ESP girls? And he ends up getting them out of the water. He ends up like talking to them. You're not even supposed to be in that room, Tom Cruise, but you gotta figure out the stuff before you go to jail. So it's a chase movie. They're chasing him. They're gonna be chasing him all throughout the film while he tries to clear his own name. A little bit like Enemy of the State, but with a big sci-fi twist. Interesting concept. Next up, No Good Deed. This has Samuel L. Jackson, and I don't remember what happens. Moving on. Sorry. It looks like an action movie. Yeah, bank robbery movie. I gotta see it myself. Next up, Mr. Deeds. Longfellow Deeds. This is an Adam Sandler movie. Adam Sandler. What can you say about Adam Sandler? You either like him, you hate him. I'm somewhere in the middle, I guess. I don't mind Adam Sandler, but I wouldn't say I'm a big, huge fan. Sometimes it's acceptable to watch a really dumb movie, you know? Sometimes you just need a dumb movie on TV. Why not? Why not? It doesn't have to be serious all the time. Look, anyway, Mr. Deeds is this dude who inherits a, like, huge sum of money. He becomes a millionaire overnight, and he's not the brightest of guys, but he's a really nice guy. And all of these people around him then want his money, and he's learning to deal with that, and he almost signs it away. Anyway, it's a great, humbling story that kind of explores, this is maybe reading a little too much into it, but it explores classism. No, I don't know if I could say that. It's an Adam Sandler movie. You get what you expect. Next up, Halloween Resurrection. Michael Myers is back. Back again. Guess who's back? It's Michael Myers. And is this the one where they're doing like a webcam reality show? Because it's the year 2002 and we have the internet now. And so it's like a modern Halloween. Or is that H2O? It's very similar. I can't really pick them apart in my head. It's another Halloween movie. If you like Michael Myers and you like those kind of movies, here's another one. Next up, Road to Perdition. Now here's a 1920s Prohibition era gangster movie, except he's got his son with him, so he lets his son drive the Ford Model T and helps them. Like Bonnie and Clyde, except it's a guy and his son. I'll put it that way. They're on the run, and he's got his son, and you better look out for your son while they're on the run. Not the easiest thing. Reign of Fire. I really remember enjoying this film when I watched it a couple of years ago. Reign of Fire is like if dragons were real, except it's not set during Sword and Shield, it's not Lord of the Rings. It's set in modern times, so, you know, we've got Humvees, we've got cars, we've got jet fighters. It's in the modern world, except there's dragons, and they are basically back to sort of enslave humanity or run amok across the planet. And, well, we have to fight back. But we've been living underground, essentially, to try to survive. It's a survival story, from what I remember. Reign of Fire. It's a really cool take on if these fantasy creatures, dragons, were real in a modern setting, not in a fantasy setting. That's what I like about it. Next up, Scooby-Doo meets Batman. Hey, it's classic Adam West Batman. And Scooby-Doo, you can't get much better than that. I don't even know what to say about that. If you're a Scooby-Doo fan, which who isn't, or a Batman fan, which who isn't, this is a great movie for you, and maybe you and your kids can watch it. Yeah. Next up, now showing Curse of the 49er. This is another one of those made-for-TV or straight-to-DVD movies, but it ain't half bad. The guy in this film, the main villain, kind of has the look of Jeepers Creepers or Freddy Krueger. He's got that hat, he's got that Scarecrow-esque kind of look, and he's undead. It's a curse. It's like the curse of the mummy, but it's like the curse of the miner. He's a miner. Not a miner like a small person, but a miner like he digs into freaking gold mines back in the Wild West. And now he's back, and he's out for blood because the curse has come to life. I like it. I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, but I like it. Next up, The Transporter. Jason Statham plays the Transporter in this action-adventure film where he is the ultimate driving, karate, judo fighting, gunfighting, gunslinging action star. Frank Martin is just like, he's this amazing, can do everything, can take on everything, every kind of challenge, and he's got the set of rules. He's got the set of rules which he lives his life by, and he's got to break a rule. He's for the good of this girl that he ends up transporting. He's not supposed to even look in the bag. That's one of his rules. I'm not going to look in the bag. My job is to take whatever you give me from here to here. He's working mostly for criminals in the black market, etc., etc. And he ends up, spoiler alert, getting involved with human trafficking. Now, he's not okay with that, so he ends up trying to free the girl and take on the bad guys. and take down this whole ring of human traffickers. It's an over-the-top action movie with car chases. Really, really good car chases. And also kung fu gunfights. Kind of like Hong Kong cinema. Moving on. Equilibrium. That's a very 2000s film where everyone's got trench coats and they're shooting. They're doing like backflips like The Matrix. Equilibrium. Set in the future. Sniper 2. I don't think I've seen that. That's just in my list. Shanghai Nights. Sequel to Shanghai Noon. They're back. This time they went to London. I'm going to try speeding through this because there's a lot to get through and we've only gotten up to 2003. My god, I'm going to take a drink. Next up, The Core. I remember this film. They try to dig to the planet's core, to the core of the Earth. It harkens back to like some Jules Verne's films and books. It's epic sci-fi. It's like Armageddon, except here on planet Earth. Next up, X-Men 2. Rather, X2, X-Men United. We didn't touch on the first X-Men film. I believe that came out in '99. We're gonna look that up. Anyway, that's the sequel to that film. Like Spider-Man, this kind of kicked off this whole wave of superhero films, which are still popular to this day. In fact, they got a little too popular, but I'm not gonna talk about that. Anyway, Wolverine is awesome. The X-Men are awesome. Night Stalker is awesome. Storm is it's cool. It's a cool movie. It's a cool goddamn movie, especially when you're back in 2003 watching it for the first time. Okay, now here's a movie I gotta give you a little backstory on. Golf. I caught this on TV. I caught this film on TV way back, probably around the same time that it came out. It was one of those made straight for TV or VHS movies. And it's about this serial killer who is like, well, super goth. And that stage of my life, so was I. I was super goth too. I was walking around like Marilyn Manson. So, I was drawn to this film in particular. And it does have like a pretty gothic underground vibe, alternative vibe to it. Where the main gang of goths are like serial killers who lure people into their van and then slit their throats or sacrifice them, and slowly I believe they get picked off one by one. Anyway, it's a movie that I'm gonna have to try to track down and watch again. It might be a little bit difficult to find this anymore, but I remember it. Moving on, here's a movie that's not hard to find at all. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. A huge blockbuster with Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom. Jack Sparrow is an all-time classic character now. Hello, puppet. But you have heard of me, and so on and so forth. Classic lines. Where has the rum gone? You know this movie. I don't need to talk about it anymore. Moving on. Jeepers Creepers 2. This is the one with the school bus. It's more Jeepers Creepers, except this time there's a whole football team involved. I think he flies around a little bit more with his wings in this one. It's pretty cool. I wish they kept on making these movies, but this is where the franchise went dead for a very long time. I know they brought it back in recent years. However, it ain't the same. Jeepers Creepers 2, at least it didn't end with just the first one. They got a sequel. Next up, Freddy vs. Jason crossover movie. Big 80s action horror stars Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees clash. What more can I say? It's like Alien vs. Predator, which should also be in the list if it's not in there. It's an over-the-top movie. You don't take it seriously. It's not scary. It's just ridiculous in such a fun way. Crack a beer when you watch this. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, talking about over-the-top movies. This is the sequel to Desperado. And it does get even more over-the-top. Last time I alluded to the character in Just Cause being inspired by the character in this film. And yes, if you watch it, you will see. It doesn't have a grappling hook, but you know. There's even that Scorpion logo there. Look, like Scorpio. They call him Scorpio in Just Cause 2. And starring Pancho Villa himself. So this is a film a little bit like Shadow of the Vampire, where they're filming. It's about, you know, early filmmakers who are shooting westerns. They're shooting real footage of real people dying during the Mexican Revolutionary War, and this hero of that war, hero quote unquote, if he's a good guy or a bad guy, I'm gonna let you decide, because he's, you know, it's a violent time to live in, and he's gonna be shooting people and all kinds of things like that. So a morally gray character who is revered as a revolutionary, and these filmmakers from Hollywood, they go film him. And when they come back to Hollywood, they kind of get laughed out of there, and they gotta really try to show, they really want to show war in its brutality. That was the point of them going and making a really long film. For its day, the silent film the creators ended up making was a really long film off its day to show the brutality of war, instead of, like, I don't know, a TikTok link video that they had before and they get laughed out of Hollywood because they didn't take it seriously, even though it was real people dying on their film reels. What can I say? If you're into either westerns or early Hollywood, give this a watch. Next up, The Devil's Pod. This is a relationship movie where the dude is a secret asshole, and they go on this, like, country retreat, cabin in the woods retreat, in the middle of a lake, and he goes Misery. You guys have seen Misery? He goes psycho on the girl. And the girl is trapped there, and she tries to escape a couple times. And that was not a nice experience for her. It was not a nice vacation. Devil's Pod. Do watch it. Tremors 4. The legend begins. Tremors. Except, much like the Back to the Future sequel, Back to the Future 3, they go to Western times. Tremors in the Wild West. It actually ain't half bad. They got this big steam tractor and this, like, classic bounty hunter Clint Eastwood type character, and Burt Gummer's ancestor, played by the same actor, who at the time is not a gun nut. He doesn't know a thing about guns or fighting, and he kind of learns that, and I guess it becomes his family tradition. Backstory of Burt's family. Next up, Club Dread. This is a silly film. I vaguely remember seeing it on TV. It's a slasher, but it's got, like, hot chicks and jokes. I don't know what to say about it. It's a B movie, man. Those are fun sometimes. Starsky and Hutch. Not the classic TV series, but based on it. This is the big blockbuster release starring Owen Wilson. And yeah, it even has Snoop Dogg as Huggy Bear. Now, I can't say they did justice to Starsky and Hutch, the TV series. It's a little goofy. It plays a little bit on the goofy side. I feel like it's a decent film. It's a decent film, but I want more Starsky and Hutch, kind of the way that they did either Knight Rider in 2008, brought it back as a TV show, although that failed horribly, or Magnum P.I., that's another 80s classic that they brought back in recent years, and it's actually doing pretty well, I think. I think they're still making that. Not too sure. But Starsky and Hutch, the movie, well, it exists. I'd rather watch the TV show, I'll say that. Mindhunters. It's another film like Minority Report, I suppose. I can't really say too much about this. It's based on an Agatha Christie novel, it says here. I don't think I've seen this, so I can't say too much about it. Moving on, Ju-Rei, Japanese horror, more J horror. If you like The Grudge, if you liked Uzumaki, here's another thing to watch for you. Next up, Hellboy. Hellboy is played by Ron Perlman. He does an amazing job at fitting the character for Hellboy. Another superhero movie, except it's not exactly a superhero movie. It's more like an anti-hero. And he's got this big, humongous fist and gun. And it harkens back to World War II. A lot of like mythos in Hellboy. It's a fun action movie. There are these monsters running around, and Hellboy's gotta stop them with his big ass gun. And he's not a character who's liked by the general public or even known about. He's doing a thankless job. Hellboy. Reluctant hero. Speaking about anti-heroes and reluctant heroes, here's The Punisher. Well, you can't get more anti-hero than The Punisher, but the movie is quite excellent. I remember liking it a lot. I've not seen the newer Punisher TV series, but in this one I just remember he has this like muscle car. He fixes it up himself. He's like styled pretty awesome. All in black. Lots of action, car chase, big gunfights. The Punisher. Moving on, Starship Troopers 2. Hero of the Federation. It's the sequel to Starship Troopers. If you like Starship Troopers, here's more. Troy. This is the film that there's a scene where he's wearing a wristwatch and there's an airplane in the background. There's a few mistakes in this movie that they made. Obviously, this got greenlit because Gladiator did so well. So if you like Gladiator, you might as well check out Troy. Obviously, its story is the Trojan horse and Helen of Troy. Yeah. If you like those kind of films, if you like Lord of the Rings, you're probably gonna enjoy this. The Terminal. Dude gets stuck in an airport and he just lives in the airport. He just lives in the airport. The movie. He actually gets to be friends with a lot of the airport workers and staff and so on. They all know him by the end of it. He just makes his home the airport because he has to. He's got no passport. He can't go anywhere. He's just stuck in limbo, living at the airport. Next up, Spider-Man 2. This is the one with Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius. That is another badass villain from Stan Lee's comic books, but reimagined through the mind of Sam Raimi with these great special effects and that horror harkening back to Evil Dead, because Sam Raimi, director of Evil Dead, uses his horror knowledge. So all of these Spider-Man films that he directed have just this hint of, here's a family film, essentially a family action film, but it's got that little bit of unsettling horror to it, which just makes it great. To me, that makes it great. Hey, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. Spider-Man 2. Do watch it. The Bourne Supremacy, another sequel. Here you go, the continuation of The Bourne Identity. If you enjoyed The Bourne Identity, go watch the next one. There's 3 of them. Liberty's Kids, the Boston Tea Party. This is a little bit of a joke that it's on here. Liberty's Kids is like a Saturday morning cartoon set during the American Revolution. That's like an educational thing. And they made a movie, apparently, and there it is. It's probably very silly. Moving on, Collateral. Alright, Collateral is an excellent film. Very, very excellent. This, like, average cab driver, I think in New York, I'm not sure if it's in New York, but it's in this big city at night, and he picks up a hitman. He's got to ferry around hitman, essentially. But he wants to get away, of course, because he's being held hostage. And these 2 characters are kind of polar opposites. One of them is just an average cab driver who gets very stressed out about the situation. And then here's this professional killer. And they start going after each other, essentially, and having this war almost across the streets of the city. I remember Collateral. I remember enjoying it a lot. One of my favorite action movies, without a doubt. There's a scene where they jump out of a big skyscraper and all the glass shatters everywhere. I remember that scene in my brain. Dracula 3000. It's the future. Dracula's coffin is on a spaceship or space station. And he gets up and he starts killing off the crew. It's Dracula in space. What more can I say? Kind of like Jason X. Actually, I think I enjoy this a bit more than Jason X. I think so. Moving on. Creep. Now here's a movie. This is a UK movie. English-made movie. Set in the London Underground. If you ever thought subway tunnels are creepy and scary and you think something might be lurking in the tunnel, maybe you don't want to watch it actually, because that's exactly what this is about. I enjoy Creep. Good film. Next up, Team America World Police. A goofy comedy movie that has that song, America Fuck Yeah. It's all about... It's just ridiculous. I can't even tell you what it's about. It's a ridiculous film. Moving on. Species Free. This is a sequel to Species 1 and 2. I didn't really talk about them in my last video, I don't think, but let me talk about the whole franchise, because I've only seen the first 2 films, actually, in that franchise, but I really do enjoy Species 1 and 2, and I gotta go see Species Free. I view it as like a combination film between Alien, Terminator, what else could it be? Like, Alien and Terminator, essentially that, yeah, it is exactly that. This alien DNA lands on the planet or gets brought back by astronauts, and they infuse it with human DNA, which creates this creature who breaks out, and their whole aim is to become the dominant species on the planet by breeding. So there's a good few sex scenes in these films as well. Species, what a franchise. I haven't even finished watching the entire franchise. I gotta see the next one, which is this. For me. Number 3. Next up, Godzilla Final Wars. The last Godzilla film. for a good long time. Being a Godzilla fan in this interim period between Final Wars and Godzilla 2014 was not a lot of fun because all we had to watch, I mean, there was a lot of kaiju films that Toho Cinema had made. There's a lot of material we had, the entire Showa era, the Heisei era, the Millennium era. But this is the end of the Millennium era, and then we didn't have nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all, stupid sexy Flanders. Godzilla Final Wars is an epic finale to the Millennium Saga for Godzilla films. They include every single, I think with only a fair few exceptions, every single Godzilla monster, enemy monster, other kaiju that was featured in the franchise. And Godzilla is just like on the warpath in this movie. He's killing them off one by one, going over the entire globe. He kills off Ebirah. He kills off, I believe, Megalon, Rodan. Even the 1998 Godzilla makes a cameo in here and is quickly put to rest. There's also this like Matrix fighting going on that the human/alien characters do. But I'm here for Godzilla. Crack a beer. When you watch this, you'll enjoy it a lot more. I'm telling you, epic film. Wolf Creek. Wolf Creek. I remember Wolf Creek. Haha. You want to go north? I'm heading south. It's all about Mick, this like really macho man, like manly man, Australian character. He has the greatest accent, the greatest character in a horror movie for a long time, at least in my opinion. He's a serial killer, but he pretends to be a nice guy, helping out kids who get stranded when their cars break down. And he's like, I'll help you. And he ends up having this whole dungeon where he, keeps them and tortures them and does all kind of depraved things to these passengers and tourists that he keeps picking up again and again. Anyway, in this case, in the film, they escape and he goes and tracks them down and they try to expose his whole operation. He's a scary serial killer. Yeah, and he's not like a monster in the sense of a monster with big teeth like Dracula or anything like that. He's just a human psychotic guy, and you can really believe it. I enjoy Wolf Creek. Next up, An American Haunting. This is another version of A House on Haunted Hill? Is that right? I don't remember. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's more like the Amityville Horror. An American Haunting. You know what? I gotta refresh my memory on that one too. But if you like horror movies, haunted house movies, here's one. Next up, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Anakin, don't try it. I've got the higher ground. Anakin, you idiot. Now you're gonna be Darth Vader. Too bad. General Grievous is a pushover. Damn it, why did they not make Grievous more badass? Why is he such a pushover? He was badass in the cartoon. I wanted more Grievous. What else can I say about Revenge of the Sith? Mustafar was a pretty cool planet. Had lava. Mace Windu gets flung out a window. And the Emperor goes all gooey face. Do you know why? It's because of lightning. Next up, Batman Begins. Back to comic book movies. Christian Bale is the new Batman. What a film. What a film. He gets trained by Liam Neeson in this samurai or rather ninja type of way. And he takes those skills back to Gotham City, becoming Batman. It's Batman's origin story. But Liam Neeson didn't really die. Spoiler alert. There's no Joker in this film. Which is probably for the best. It's probably for the best they didn't include Joker in this one. Don't worry, he'll show up later. But this is Batman's origin story. You get to see the Tumbler, that car, the like tank-like Batmobile for the first time. What a film, Batman Begins. The Batman in this film comes off a little bit more serious and scary than he's ever been before, which was a good turn. However, I still do like silly Batman sometimes, you know what I mean? This is the one where he'll talk like in the really gruff voice the whole time. I'm Batman. Moving on, War of the Worlds. Classic story, classic sci-fi story here. Going all the way back to the 30s, I believe. This movie stars Tom Cruise. And aliens invade. They've got those walkers. They try to escape. But you can't escape from the aliens forever. I like this film. I don't know what to say about it, but I like this film. I've seen it a fair few times. War of the Worlds. Next up, Stealth. Hey, if you like Top Gun, even if you like the newest Top Gun Maverick, try Stealth. It's a very 2000s film. Well, it is a 2000s film, but it's a very, like, it has that vibe. You don't really know how to describe it. It's all about jet fighters and dogfighting, but the next-gen fighter plane is AI control. Hey, here's a topic for today. AI is gonna take over this multi-million killing machine jet fighter, and it goes freaking haywire. What do you do then? That's the movie, Stealth. If that sounds interesting, check it out. Skeleton Key, Voodoo, 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 Black Magic, and Voodoo in the South. Lady finds Skeleton Key. It unlocks bad, spooky doors. Next up, Transporter 2. If you like Transporter 1, try Transporter 2. Yeah, it gets pretty ridiculous in this one, though. The ridiculous factor goes up. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing. American Gun. I don't remember a thing about this or that I've ever seen it. I couldn't tell you. Flight Plan. This one I know. I've got this on DVD. Yes, I still collect DVDs. Flight Plan is this movie about a mom who takes her kid on a plane, loses her kid, she falls asleep, her kid's not there, she's like, where's my kid? And the staff, everybody is saying, there was never any kid here, you're crazy, and they really make her think she's crazy. Now, if she's crazy or not, she starts to unravel the mystery, and I'm gonna let you find out what happens there. Okay, I'm not gonna say any more about that, because that would just spoil the whole thing. Next up, Jarhead, Gulf War movie, pretty gritty. It's not quite up to the standards of We Were Soldiers, but it's not a bad watch. It's a decent war movie. The Poseidon Adventure, the remake. Ship falls over. It's not the Titanic. It's upside down ship time. They gotta work their way out of the ship while the ship's upside down. Yeah, what a challenge that would be. Well, you're gonna see it when you watch the movie. Next up, Stargate. SG-1 True Science, a documentary about Stargate. I like Stargate. I don't think I've seen this documentary. I've seen a lot of the DVD extras on the SG-1 TV series, which I should totally upload to YouTube, or would they copyright that? I don't know. I've got it all on my external hard drive, the entire franchise of Stargate, with all those extras. But I don't know what to do with them. Hopefully they're accessible already, so I don't need to do anything. Hey Zana, how you doing? How are you doing? Welcome in. I'm talking about movies from the 2000s here. We're going through them. We're up to 2006. We still got quite a lot more to go. So, let's carry on. Okay, this movie right here, Minotaur. Actually, I've got the DVD of this somewhere too. I really had to track it down. This is a Sci-Fi Channel original, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I saw it first on either Sci-Fi or Sky One back in the day, and I remember it because, like, it was definitely a budget movie. It's definitely a made-for-TV movie, exploring the caverns, looking for the Minotaur, or rather trying to get away from the Minotaur because it's the beast that's chasing them. And they had a really great special effect puppets for the monster itself. Pretty big one too. Like, it's full size. Like, it'll eat your head. It'll eat, like, you can impale, a body gets impaled on its tusk. That's how big it is. A human body gets shish kebabbed on its tusk, on the horn of the Minotaur. Yeah, so if you like ancient mythos and you want to see it come to life a little bit, try Minotaur. Even if you're just looking for a horror movie where there's a big monster, try Minotaur. In a similar regard, Abominable is another made-for-TV movie. I love made-for-TV movies, can you tell? This one really struck me because it's one of those things. I mean, made-for-TV movies, you're just flicking channels, right? You're just flicking channels. You don't know what's gonna be on, and then you find something and you're like, what's this? So for a long time, I didn't even know the title of this movie, and I'm so glad I tracked it down and saved it to my list. My dude, Abominable. Bigfoot has never been scarier than in this film right here. It has the whole, like, almost like Misery kind of vibe, because this main dude here, this character is stuck to a wheelchair, and the cabin across the way has a bunch of party kids show up, and then Bigfoot's out in the freaking woods and he starts getting them, and the only person seeing it to report it in is the dude in his wheelchair, and nobody wants to believe him. Well, the effects are great in this film. Real puppets, real costumes, real, well, not real blood, but, you know, blood and gore that's not CGI. I really appreciate the practical effects in Abominable. Kind of reminds me of that Simpsons episode where Bart Simpson is stuck in his room and he's like seeing Flanders kill someone and he can't do anything because he's stuck with a cast on his leg. Yeah, kind of like that. You're still breathing despite everything. Hey, me too, man. Me too. Me double. Ditto. Ditto. Poseidon. This is another telling of the Poseidon adventure, except this is straight to DVD or low budget version. I don't think I've actually seen that version. Apparently there's two versions. Pan's Labyrinth. Okay, who doesn't know Pan's Labyrinth? This is a very famous film. At least I would hope so by this point. I remember that being incredibly striking when I first saw it. It just has this air of mystery, and there's this monster, the eyeballs on his hands. Very creepy. very interesting. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I think I skipped Too Fast, Too Furious, but I guess I'll talk about that and this at the same time. The sequels to Fast and the Furious were Too Fast, Too Furious, where that Nissan Skyline shows up for the first time, the famous one that everybody likes. And Tokyo Drift. Well, guess what? It's not the same character anymore. It's not Paul Walker. There's a new lead character. The franchise kind of is almost like a spin-off. This one American dude goes to Japan and he's a fish out of water and he's got to adapt to life in Japan. And he was in trouble with racing, illegal street racing in America, and he's gonna do the same thing in Japan because he's smart like that. It's all about drifting. It really made drift culture popular, I think, this movie right here. Other than Initial D, the anime. Next up, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. One of the first anime films I had watched. I'm not counting like Pokemon the movie and Mewtwo Strikes Back. All of those kind of things that I did see when I was very little. But yeah, around this time, I think I saw it in like 2009. The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It's a time travel movie, or at least like stop time. It's not like a huge time travel, like it's just time travel so you can stop yourself being late for school or something like that. It's a kind of like slice of life. It's a nice film. If you like anime, I'd recommend it. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Ricky Bobby, I come from Formula 1. You've heard me say that before when I play racing games, probably a ton. Listen. Talladega Nights is hilarious. It stars Will Ferrell. He's a NASCAR driver, and this European French dude from Formula 1 comes on over and starts kicking ass at NASCAR. And he's like bored while he's doing it. He's like, this is not interesting for me. I come from Formula 1. I kick your American behind. And Ricky Bobby is total redneck and kind of like, I don't know, it's like culture clash. There's culture clash in this movie, obviously. It's hilarious. Ricky Bobby. Just saying Ricky Bobby is it's fun to say. Ricky Bobby. It's funny. Next up. I am sick of these motherfucking snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. Snakes on a Plane. Somehow it was a big hit at the time. It's a stupid as hell B movie with a kind of mid-decent budget. Samuel L. Jackson is on this plane. There's snakes on the plane. The title says it all. I don't need to explain it. The title says it all. What can I even say about that? I don't know. It's a like a. I already said it's like a B movie. Snakes on a plane. It's not good to have snakes on the plane if you didn't know that. Okay, it's bad for the plane. Next up, 300. This is Sparta! That's where that line comes from, King Leonidas. It's based on a comic book series, actually. 300 was an over-the-top graphic comic book series, graphic novels. And here's a movie adaptation, which, when it came out, was probably the biggest thing in the world at the time. March 9th, the day after my birthday. I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm sure you know this. I'm sure everybody knows this. If you don't know it, it's not very historically accurate, but it's got a lot of slow-mo and blood and stylized fighting. You don't have to be a history fan to like 300. Next up, Pathfinder. Pathfinder is another pseudo-historical film about Vikings. It's about Vikings. Vikings meet Native Americans. I remember enjoying this. I can't really tell you much more than that. I just remember I did enjoy it when I last watched it many years ago. Next up, Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure. Well, it's a Billy and Mandy movie. If you like the cartoon, if you know the cartoon, or maybe if you don't, you want to check out an early 2000s cartoon called Grim and Evil, which then became Billy and Mandy, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. It's a comedy cartoon. It's not serious. It's goofy. It's a little bit on the gothic side, which appealed to me, definitely. I don't know if I've seen the movie version, but it exists. There it is. Next up, Wild Hogs. These schlubby dads and like middle-aged dudes, they all have a midlife crisis. And so they want to be bikers all of a sudden. They go out and buy leather jackets and motorcycles, but they're not very good at it. It's a comedy. Sunshine. The sun is going to freaking explode. We have to nuke it. In order to nuke the sun, we get this team together and send them on this like long distance trip. Very slow, very realistic sci-fi. Not like Star Trek where you can just get anywhere with a warp engine in an instant. You have to do it the slow way with a solar sail. So the sun is gonna explode. We gotta go nuke it. We assemble the team. We send them on their mission. They start getting closer. They've been up in space a good long while. And when they're almost there, they find the first ship we sent. We sent a mission before. It failed. We never heard from them again. And they're like, look at this distress signal. We gotta check it out. What if anyone's alive? Spoiler alert, someone's alive. And they've gone freaking cuckoo bananas crazy. And then they start killing off people. Well, then you've got a double problem. Not only is the sun gonna explode if we don't send this nuke into it, and all life on Earth will diminish and die from the sun going out and a new ice age happening, but you've also got a scary monster killer guy on the same ship taking out people. Kind of like Alien. That's no good. What else? Spider-Man 3. It's Spider-Man Triple. This is where he gets the black costume. Because Venom happens. Yeah. I don't really have to tell you the story about Venom or Sandman. You all probably know Spider-Man villains by now. This one kind of killed the franchise though. This was the end of Spider-Man. Movies by Sam Raimi. Too bad. Peter Parker goes emo. And he dances and it's weird. Moving on. Death Proof. What happens during Death Proof? Well, there's this dude with a hot rod and he picks up chicks. And I think he like kills them. He's like some kind of psycho. Anyway, he picks up some chicks and they start fighting back. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It's got a good soundtrack. Really good soundtrack to Death Proof. Next up, The Apocalypse. The apocalypse happens. Next up, Surf's Up. That's what's up. It's The Surf. It's a movie about gnarly surfer dude penguins, and they're all like, yo, surf's up, man. Like, okay, I'm not doing it justice, but if you like movies like Madagascar, you're probably gonna like Surf's Up. It ain't bad. Next up, Ice spiders. I love ice spiders. What the hell is Ice Spiders, you're asking me? Well, it's another sci-fi original made-for-TV movie where, much like Eight-Legged Freaks, there are giant spiders, except this time the kids involved have snowmobiles and snowboards and skis. They're on a ski trip. These spiders are bred to live in the cold, but they're also ginormous and they chase them down the mountain. There's something about this film that just sticks with me. I don't know if it's the soundtrack or the characters or just like the whole vibe of it. Like, you don't get that 2000s vibe anymore because it's not the 2000s anymore. You know what I mean? Next up, Who's Your Monkey? I don't know I've seen it essentially, but it's on my list. I'm gonna need to watch that at some point. It's got a monkey in it. Monkeys are always fun. Next up, Live Free or Die Hard. John McClane is back. I almost just read that whole thing. No, I remember when this came out. I went to see it in the theater with my cousin. I remember we liked it, but it was over the top, kind of redonkulous. He flies a jet fighter. He jumps into a jet fighter and flies it. And that was just the same character from the earlier Die Hards, where the most he can do is like step on glass and just like Die Hard was kind of grounded, you know what I mean? Die Hard 4, this one, no, not anymore. Not anymore. It's a different beast now. The Bourne Ultimatum. Do you like the Bourne Ultimatum? Do you like the Bourne films? Well, here you go. Here's more. I do like them. Realistic, gritty spy film. I don't know what else to say about that. It's a really awesome movie. Better than James Bond. Now that's saying something. I'm gonna say that, to me, these films are better than James Bond because it's not so suave, it's not like a gentleman with tuxedos, he doesn't have all the gadgets in the world. It's a little bit more real than that. Okay, so it strikes me better. Not that I don't like James Bond films, I didn't say that. I just said these Jason Bourne films hold a little bit more grounded to reality in their nature than James Bond. So that's my preference. I like grounded stuff. Tend to like grounded a little bit more than fantastical. So, next up, 3:10 to Yuma. It's a Western. If you like Westerns, check it out. Next up, War. This is when Jet Li meets Jason Statham, which is a great matchup because both of them are such good martial artists. Yeah, I can't remember what the plot is about at all, but I mean, it's here. You can go look it up yourself, or you can pause the video if you want to know that, or do what I would do and just watch the movie. Next up, Sleuth. I don't think I remember too much about this at all. Writer matches wit with a struggling actor. I don't know if I've seen that. Maybe I have. I might just not remember. Gotta move on, and oh yeah, we're moving on straight into B movie. Seinfeld, why? Why did you do this? Jerry Seinfeld lends his hand to an animated film. Here it is. B movie. That's what he came up with. Really, Seinfeld? Seinfeld is your comedy genius. You could have done something better. He even publicly apologized for this movie. Now, the movie itself, it's not the worst thing in the world, I suppose. It's just kind of a mediocre, subpar animated kids film. That's what it is. It's not. It's like. I don't know. What else do I say about that? It's B movie. It's a joke. It's a joke off a movie. Maybe you can have fun with that if you're like kind of stoned or something. I don't know. Moving on, Beowulf. I had this on DVD. It's the mythical story of Beowulf and Grendel. Classic Viking story. Classical story. Classical myth. Told very well in a... I think this is even an animated film. I remember it having like some CG graphics. Well, whether it was completely animated or not, I remember enjoying this, so I would recommend Beowulf, especially if you're interested in classical myth. Next up, he's back, baby. Futurama. Bender's Big Score. They made several Futurama films when the series was cancelled by Fox. And all of those were, I believe, released straight to DVD. There was The Beast with the Billion Backs. There was this one. I don't know them well enough to tell you which one was which, just from looking at the cover or the title. But it's Futurama. You can't go wrong with these characters. Futurama. Who doesn't like Futurama? It's Futurama. Especially when it's starring Bender. Dante 01. I believe was a French film. I had this on DVD as well. All I remember, I don't remember this film, by the way. I remember very little about it. The only thing I do remember is that during the intro to the film, the spacecraft pans across the camera and you can see logos. You see the American flag, you see NASA, you see things that you would expect, European Space Agency, and then you see a big Pepsi logo. And I just thought that is the future, for sure, of space travel. It's gonna look like NASCAR with all the advertisements they stick on things. That's where we're headed. For sure. That's the only part of this film that I can remember. It's been a long time since 2008. Okay, give me a break. I haven't seen it since then. Next up, 10,000 BC. This film, I believe this even has like the pyramids and like some ancient Egyptian stuff going on in there. Like, it's not just a dude fighting the saber-toothed tiger with a spear. Because it is about, like, woolly mammoths and caveman kind of time, but then they cross over into ancient Egypt. Maybe this was also based on a comic book like 300. I can't tell you if that's right or not. But it's definitely not historically very accurate. It's a cool adventure film. There's not a lot of talking during it because they don't speak English. I remember they speak their own language. Or I could be misremembering that. But it's a fair chance that if you enjoyed 300, you're probably going to enjoy this film. The style is kind of similar. One Piece movie. It's a One Piece movie. If you like One Piece, you're probably going to like this one. Stargate, the Ark of Truth. I can say the same thing. If you like Stargate, you're probably gonna like the Stargate movie. Because it's more Stargate. I love Stargate. I can never get enough Stargate. Bring back Stargate. Damn it. Outlander. Oh, this movie. Okay, so I do have more to say about this one. Viking dude, or not, rather, it's the other way around. future dude falls from space. He may be played by Daniel Craig. Can't remember. But he falls from space, and on planet Earth, it is the time of the Vikings. It is the time of swords and shields and long hair and pagan beliefs, and this future man has to essentially blend in or try to fit in with this more ancient society. So it's a culture clash movie. It's also like a test of himself as a man and where he wants to live. Does he want to be picked up and go back to the life he knows in space, or would he rather stay here? And there's monsters. There's monsters picking off these Viking people. So like a Beowulf, and he has to help them, or rather he chooses to help them fight the monster. That's a cool story. Outlander. War Inc. War Inc. I thought this had Nicolas Cage. I can't remember who it stars, but it has two brothers, and they are arms dealers. And I might be mixing this up with something else. If this is the movie that I think it is, which I think it is, let me take a look. John Cusack. Well, he's always good. Let's see if this is what I think it is, because I might be mixing it up with a different film. I'm mixing this up with a different film. I am thinking of one with a similar premise starring Nicolas Cage. Lord of War is what I'm thinking of. War Inc. is different, and I don't remember that I've seen it, so I can't really tell you much opinion on it other than it looks something similar to Lord of War, which is a cool movie. Moving on, there's that Futurama, Beast with a Billion Backs. I told you they made a bunch of them. Here's another one. If you like Futurama, check it out. The Mummy 3, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. I believe Brendan Fraser is back, but I can't remember what he does in this. Probably fight some skeletons. I don't know. The Dark Knight, sequel to Batman Begins. Christian Bale is back. This is the one that introduces the Joker. Where did I get these scars, Joker? Why so serious? You have to see it. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. The whole trilogy. If you need something to watch, you haven't seen this, see it. If you need something to watch and you have seen this, still see it. It's that good. Moving on. Starship Troopers 3, they made another one. Moving on. The Scorpion King 2, they made another one. Moving on. Stargate Continuum, they made another one. Transporter 3, they made another one. The Messenger. Okay, so this is a film where it's the soldier's job to give the bad news to the family of the soldiers who had died fighting, missing in action, whatever the case is, and they get abused, they get spat on by people, they're delivering people are shooting the messenger, essentially. I think people even did take a shot at them in this movie. Anyway, it's really like psychologically damaging to these two guys who are having to do this job. They don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be the bearer of bad news like that. And the younger one gets involved with this grieving widow, and they end up hooking up, and they're not really supposed to be doing that. So it's more like a drama than a war movie. The Messenger. It's quite a good film. Next up, Moon. Dude is on the moon. He's the only one on the moon. It's a lonely life when you're the only one on the moon. And then he basically crashes his tractor. And all rights should have died. He should be dead. But he didn't. He survived, and he comes back to his moon base only to find, spoiler alert, he finds another one of himself. Yes, that's right. The whole big reveal of this film is that instead of him going back to planet Earth, they've just been cloning the same man again and again and again, and the lifetimes of the clones are deteriorating, and so he's now living there with a younger, slightly younger version of himself. And it's a very heady movie. It'll make you think a little bit, like, that's crazy kind of thing. Like, give yourself goosebumps with this. Next up, more Futurama. Next up, Drag Me to Hell. I saw this in theater when it came out. Is it scary? I wouldn't really say it's that scary. It's kind of gruesome. There's an old person in it. Old people are scary. The old lady in this film was scary. I remember that. She like froze up a bunch. I'm like, gross. Drag Me to Hell. You don't want to get dragged into hell. It's not good. You shouldn't go there. It's not nice. Next up, Terminator Salvation. The fourth Terminator movie. They have bikes which are Terminators. They have a weird snake thing which is Terminator. It's in the future where the Terminators, that the war of the machines has not really started yet, or rather, it's accepted that Terminators are in charge of the planet. None of the events of Terminator 1 have happened yet. It's not even that far in the future. I don't think they have lasers yet. They still have just like machine guns and the remnants of cars. There's a lot of like desert. It has Christian Bale. The T-600 is pretty cool. It's like this big bulky Terminator that you can see on the cover here. It's not as sleek or advanced as the Arnold's Terminator, which I believe makes an appearance towards the end. And like an Uncanny Valley kind of way, although that could have been the next one. There's Big Monster Terminator too, like big robot. Almost like War of the Worlds, actually. Yeah, it's a survival movie. Survival in the future with Terminators. Next up, The Collector. I haven't seen that in a long time, but I remember enjoying this film quite a lot. It's a killer in the house movie. I can't really say too much more about that, but if that's your kind of thing, add it to your list. More Stargate, because I can't get enough Stargate. That shouldn't be in there, but it is anyway. Blood Creek. I remember enjoying that too. That's a good film. I can't remember too much about it. I think it goes together well with this one, with The Collector. This one, they have like security stuff in the house. I'll come back to this actually, because I remembered it a little bit more. They have security systems. There's a cat burglar, but there's also this killer in the house. And it's like cat burglar versus the killer. And the family are caught in the middle. Blood Creek is something else. A cult dating back to the Third Reich. Right. Okay. Vaguely remember that. Need to watch it again. Next up, Avatar. while James Cameron is back directing his huge blockbuster, Avatar. Do you like Avatar? What do you think about Avatar? My opinion about Avatar is that it's freaking cool, but it's also kind of weird. I don't know how to say that. I like the humans in Avatar more than the pseudo-alien blue people. I'm into James Cameron's future tech, like power loader looking machines, things that look like they came right out of Alien. Except humans in the military industrial complex are the bad guys, and we're supposed to be sympathetic towards the Avatar people who are all like dude bros and they're Native American-esque. It's a story about colonization, essentially anti-Manifest Destiny. That's the moral of the story. However, the setting is really cool, the effects are really cool. There's a big battle. Avatar was a pretty neat idea, but I don't think that they've taken it far enough with the premise. Next up, Clash of the Titans. This is a remake of a much older classic 1960s film, or was it 70s? Anyway, here's the modern version. Fighting Medusa, all of the Greek mythos in one. There's a giant scorpion. There's a Cyclops. Several Cyclops. How would you say that? Cycli? Medusa, obviously. And Zeus and Hades, the Greek gods. Liam Neeson plays Hades, which is pretty cool. Or did he play Zeus? I don't even remember. It's been too long. I need to watch these again. They made two of them. Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans. I enjoyed them. The studio that made these films were Legendary Pictures, who you will know from making Pacific Rim and Godzilla, the American 2014 Godzilla. They honed their craft, special effects of giant monsters, on Clash of the Titans. And, oh, actually, look at this, we're into 2010s now, so that's where I'm gonna stop. Because, yeah, I was only supposed to go up to 2009. So that's my list of 2000s movies stretching from the year 2000 to 2009. That's the entire decade. Next time we're either gonna do the 80s, or we're gonna carry on going into modern times with the 2010s, up to 2020, I suppose. Alright, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing that, and hopefully I've pointed out a movie or two which you may not have been familiar with. Hopefully something stood out as something that you want to watch yourself personally, that you can then set a movie night to. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave me a comment and a like, and subscribe if you would. I'll be back with some more of this soon enough. We're getting there. We're getting there. There's a lot of movies. There's a lot of things to talk about for me when it comes to things like this. You know, I've also got on my YouTube channel, I do something similar where I've made a playlist. I've made a lot of playlists, but here it is. Gloop Movie Cinema, 478 videos. Okay, it's called Gloop Movie Cinema because Garf Sector, Garf Gloop is like my Stellaris faction. This is what I would imagine they would show on the planets in fantasy world in Stellaris, I suppose. So it ties into like my own lore, nerd stuff, world building. Virtuosity, I watched that last night. Very good film. Watch this one. Watch it. watch it. It's amazing. Anyway, so this is not all-inclusive, similar to how my other list there on that website is not all-inclusive. But maybe you can also, if you're interested, take a look through here, see if you find anything. If you're looking for something to watch, hey, maybe one day I'll go through all of these, because this is not the same list as what I was just looking at. This is totally a little bit off everything in no particular order. Yeah, sometimes I would just put this on shuffle to see what it would recommend. Anyway, man, like, they need to put me in charge of a movie TV network, because I'm telling you, on real television these days, there's too much repeats, and I would never let that happen, not with all what I have listed up here. You know what I mean? There's no need. There's no need. All right. On that note, I am gonna sign off. This has been Prince Primeval, looking at movies of the 2000s. We'll be back with some video games. I'm gonna take a small break. Get something to eat. I'll log back on and we'll play a video game. Sounds good? Sounds good to me. Until then, please stay tuned. I will find somebody to raid, and I will see you next time. So long.
This gives me Skyward points. Raiders! Oh, refresh inspection. Was that good? Did I do it? There we go. Yo, Prime! Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, Prince. Hope you're doing good. Thank you so much for popping in. Hope you had a good stream. Hope you had fun. Oh, you were doing just chatting. What were you doing, Prince? And welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for popping in. I really appreciate it. Happy Saturday, everyone. Alright. Guess you do approve Mats, but you can Dan Crawford. Okay, cool. Enjoy the weekend. I was recommending some good movies for people to watch. Hell yeah, nice. Okay, so now I have the approved stuff. So now I can make that into things. Alright.